Welcome back. All right, 11 games tonight in the National Hockey League, and there was a lot of overtime, a lot of shootouts, and an ongoing gag on this channel is those 7:30 starts. I'm starting this at 10:36 my time, because that's how things go with 7:30 starts. All right, so we'll go ahead, we'll dive in, we'll start things off with Buffalo and Boston. Two teams that are looking to get themselves above the playoff line. It was Lion versus Korpisalo in this one. And after a good start by Buffalo, all of a sudden Boston gets themselves a goal here at 13:07 on the power play. Geeky wires one blocker side from the right circle. The assist to Pastrnak and Zacha. So against the flow of play, but on the power play, Boston gets a goal. And then exactly 2 minutes later at 15:07, it's Pastrnak going far corner on a rush from the left circle. So even though Buffalo had outplayed Boston to this point in the game, Boston's got a 2-0 lead. They hold that through the first period. Second period, eventually, Buffalo gets on the board. 16:01 into the second period. Buffalo gets their goal. It's a power play marker. It's Dahlin from Benson and Thompson. It's a one-timer pass to screen. That's Dahlin's first of the year. And so it's 2-1 until very late in the period. At 19:39, Kastelik buries one in close off the rush, the assist to Jeannot and Corrali. They then showed some discussion going on between the benches. I think it was Zadorov and Byram that were having a little chat. I don't know what was being said, but the fans sitting between them were laughing really hard. So whatever was being said, pretty darn funny. Probably not something that would be family friendly, is my guess. So it's 3-1 Boston after two somehow, even though they've been outshot 29-14 to that point in the game. Third period, well, Buffalo fights their way back in. At 7 minutes, Josh Doan scores. Tuck and Power with the assist. Tuck and Power sounds like a fun. It's not as fun as Tuck and Cousins was. Since they traded Dylan Cousins, it's not as much fun, but Tuck and Power, yeah, they have some Tuck and Power. Anyways, at 14:25, they would score, and it's Tuck. He puts one over Korpisalo's shoulder from in close. Dahlin and McLeod with the assists. So we have ourselves a 3-3 tie. There's a goalie interference challenge. It counts, so the Sabres go to the power play. That's killed off, and then with 1:17 left, the Bruins call a timeout before they have a power play late in the third period, but we get to overtime with the score tied at 3. The Bruins control early. They set up. The Sabres do finish the kill. And then at 2:07, it's Kuznetsov. He wins it from a top-shelf goal on a rush. Minton with the assist. And Boston, with an unlikely goal from Kuznetsov, gets the 4-3 win in overtime. Your three stars are Kuznetsov, Pastrnak, and Korpisalo, who's off to, he's playing pretty well right now. Shots on net favored Buffalo the whole way until overtime. 13-5 in the first, 16-9 in the second, 11-5 in the third, and then Boston had all three shots in overtime, including the winner. Final shots 40-22 for Buffalo. So Buffalo played well. They only got the 1 point instead of 2. Power plays, Buffalo 1 for 5, Boston 1 for 4. The hits 25-12 Buffalo. Lion, rough night statistically, 18 saves on 22 shots. Korpisalo 37 saves on 40 shots. All right, next up, Calgary and Ottawa. It's Cooley versus Ullmark, and Calgary scores first, which they've been able to do a lot this year. I do believe they've scored first in a lot of their games. And at 5:51 on the power play, it's Sharangovich. He gets one from the right circle. This was a 4-minute power play, and he scores during the first 2 minutes of it. Farabee and Uyghur with the assists. Then at 7:37 during the next power play Calgary has, Ottawa scores on it. It's Lars Eller burying one on a rebound via a 2-on-1 rush. Pinto and Shabbat with the assists. We have ourselves a 1-1 tie. Sens do finish the kill. Then Calgary goes back to the power play, and they score on this one at 15:53. Coronado buries a loose puck from in close. Frost and Anderson with the assists. It's 2-1 Calgary, and that's your score after one. The second period, we don't get a goal in this period. We get 19 combined shots, 10 of them for Ottawa. I thought it was a really solid 40 minutes for the Calgary Flames. And this is the thing for me with Calgary. I don't think they're playing badly. I don't. They're not getting the bounces, and it's one of those things, right? So in the third period, we get some scoring. 2:36, it's Zub scoring from Eller and Batherson. With the ellipses I've got there, it makes it look like Seller and Batherson, but it's Eller and Batherson. And then Calgary gets the lead back at 3-2. At 8:16, on a 3-on-2 rush, Kadri wires one from the slot. Huberdeau with the assist. And then it stays as a lead until 17 minutes and 11 seconds. It's a goal. Last I saw was credited to Sanderson. It just pinballs in. Goes in off Cooley, goes in off the post. I'm trying to think of who else it pinballed off of. It's just one of those trick shots. And it ties the game at 3. We're going overtime. The Sens control early. Ottawa ends up getting a power play. The Sens call a timeout during that power play, but Calgary kills that off. And we go to the shootout. In the shootout, both Batherson and Stützle score, so the Ottawa Senators with a 4-3 shootout victory over the hapless Flames. Your 3 stars are Eller, Kadri, and Stützle. Shots on net, 13-11 Ottawa in the first, 10-9 Ottawa in the second, 9-8 Calgary in the third, and then 7-1 Ottawa in the overtime. Final shots, 38-30 for Ottawa. Power plays, Calgary 2 for 4, Ottawa 0 for 4. The hits, 17-16 Calgary. Cooley had another good game, 35 saves on 38 shots. So if Calgary's looking for another backup, I'm not sure why. Olmark with 27 saves on 30 shots. I know that's been the discussion, but Cooley's playing well for him. So I don't think there's any need at this point in time to get a different goalie. All right, next up, Dallas and Tampa, the quiet game of the night. There were no 80s games, no like crazy scores or anything, but there was definitely some good scoring games. This was a very defensive matchup. So it's Oettinger versus Vasilevsky. Cirelli gets the best opportunity. I thought it was a buzzer beater that was saved. Oettinger, I thought, had a really strong first period. Tampa controlled large swaths of that first period. So we go to the second period, no scoring on the board. 30 minutes into this game, Dallas had 8 shots. So Dallas not getting a lot of chances, and they really are relying on Oettinger. Tampa Bay, it looks like maybe they got a goal. Did it cross? And the review shows that the puck barely crossed the line, but it crossed. So that goal is a power play marker for Hagel at 15:02. Gonsalves and Dastus with the assists. So Dastus with another point in this one. Tampa Bay has a 1-0 lead after 2. However, in the third period at 2:03, it's a point shot tipped in by Adam Ernie. Apparently in 8 games against Vasilevsky, Ernie has 3 goals. Guys should be calling him and going, how do you beat Vasilevsky? So Ernie gets the goal from Petrovic and Faksa. That ties the game at 1. The Stars would get a power play. It would become a minute and 1 second of 5-on-3 action, but Tampa Bay does kill that off. There were some opportunities, but it's killed off. And we go to the overtime. The Bolts control early, and eventually they would trade possessions of the puck. And at 2:36, Cirelli, unassisted, buries one on a rush, gives Tampa the 2-1 victory in overtime. So the first 3 games I'm reviewing here, all of them go to extra time. The chess magnet's on the board for this one because it's 3 goals or less. Your 3 stars, Cirelli, Hagel, and Heiskanen. Shots on net, 11-6 Tampa in the first, 10-4 Tampa in the second, and then 10-8 Dallas in the third. The shots 3-1 for Tampa in the overtime, including the shot that matters. Final shots 32-21 for the Lightning. Power plays Dallas 0 for 3. Tampa 1 for 4. The hits 30-21 for Dallas. Oettinger 30 saves on 32 shots. Vasilevsky 20 saves on 21 shots. Both goalies played really well. I'm kind of surprised neither of them qualified for the 3 stars. All right, moving on. The Nashville Predators and the Philadelphia Flyers. It's Saros versus Vladar. I thought Nashville played a pretty darn perfect first period. They only allowed 3 shots. They controlled the action a lot, but Dan Vladar made a lot of really nice saves. So Nashville coming out of the first period had to feel pretty good. And halfway through this game, it's still scoreless. In the second half of the second period, the goals start to show up. First at 12:45, Zegras puts one in from the high slot on the rush. Michkov and Tippett with the assists. And then at 15:41, so a little less than 3 minutes later, Philly makes it 2-0 with Drysdale scoring his first of the season. Michkov and Zegras with the assists. So that Drysdale-Zegras connection is there, and it gets the Philadelphia Flyers the 2-0 lead. However, Nashville would answer at 18:03. Matthew Wood with his first of the season. He puts one in from the slot on a turnover. Bunting and Howla with the assists, and so we have ourselves a 2-1 lead for Philadelphia, and that is your score after 2. Third period, 7 minutes in, Zegras with a one-timer. It deflects in, or it's a one-timer, I think, by York, and then it deflects in Zegras's. Either way, Zegras gets the power play marker. The assist to York and Cates. And so we have ourselves a 3-1 lead for the Philadelphia Flyers at home. Everything gets huggy with 5 minutes and 43 seconds left. Eventually, Nashville pulls the goalie because they're down by 2. And at 15:54, Konechny scores into the empty net. The assist to Christian Dvorak. And so we have ourselves a 4-1 lead for Philly, and that is your final score of the Flyers. Come up with the win. Your 3 stars are Zegras, Vladar, and Michkov. Shots on net, 10-3 Nashville in the first, 14-8 Nashville in the second, 9-7 Nashville in the third. They outshot and outchanced Philadelphia. Final shots 33-18 for the Nashville Predators. Power plays Nashville 0 for 2, Philadelphia 1 for 1, and the hits, both teams had 21 hits in this game. Saros saves 14 out of 17, Vladar saves 32 out of 33, and so, yeah, Philadelphia with a game that you look at on the schedule and you say that should be a winnable game, and they win it, which is different from the way things have been going in Philly for about the last half decade, so at least things are getting better there. All right. The Islanders and the Carolina Hurricanes. So it's Rittich versus Bussy in this game. And it's funny, they talked about how Bussy's just got the plain white mask. I'd keep it. I wouldn't paint it. Goalies are really superstitious a lot of the time too. He's playing well. I'd keep the white mask for now. And at 2:33, Nadeau scores his first National Hockey League goal, wires it on a turnover to make it 1-0. Then, at 5:21, during an Islanders power play, Mike Riley scores shorthanded. He buries one on a wraparound to make it 2-0 for Carolina. The Canes then finish the kill, and then at 10:21, Carolina scores again. It is Martinook tipping in a loose puck that's sitting behind Rittich, Stahl, and Svechnikov, I should say, with the assists. We have a 3-0 lead for Carolina. The Islanders would answer before the period was up, though. At 13:20, and on a power play as well, it's Matthew Schaefer. He puts one past the screen from the point. Palmieri and Drouin with the assists. That makes the score 3-1 for Carolina, and that is your score after the first period. In the second, there were 17 total shots, but no goals. There was one power play for each team. Very evenly played period. The problem for the Islanders being you're still down by 2 going into the third period. It's in Carolina. The odds of you coming back from 2 down against Carolina in the third when you're in Carolina, not great. And Carolina has blown a couple of 2-goal leads recently, so I'm sure that they're learning from that. And tonight it looks like they may have, because at 1:51, Jackson Blake goes glove side on a rush to extend the lead to 4-1. The assist to Hall and Bussy. So Bussy with his first National Hockey League point. The Islanders would answer, though, at 10:47. During a 4-on-4, it's roofed in close by Holmstrom. Holmstrom gets the goal from D'Angelo. It was a nice 2-on-1 rush during the 4-on-4. But almost immediately at 10:59, so 12 seconds later, Carolina answers. This is how they're playing tonight. It's Svechnikov. Bar down on a net drive. That's the Andrei Svechnikov I've been waiting to see this season. He showed up there. Nikishin with the assist. We have ourselves a 5-2 lead for the Carolina Hurricanes at that point. And of course, that's the 4-on-4 goal as well. Jarvis gets dinged on a shot block to the foot. Sounds like he could miss some time. He did not come back into the game, and after the game, Rod Brindamore a little cagey on it, but there's the possibility that Seth Jarvis could miss the next game for Carolina. Then at 19:49, so the closing seconds, Stankoven gets in on the action. He puts one in top shelf via a 2-on-1 rush. Nick Ehlers, who still doesn't have a goal for Carolina, but he gets another assist on this one and makes your final score 6-2. Carolina Hurricanes kind of laying the smackdown on the Islanders tonight. Your 3 stars are Svechnikov, Bussy, and Nadeau with his first National Hockey League goal. Shots on net, 15-11 Islanders in the first, 10-7 for Carolina in the second, and 12-6 Carolina in the third. So their defense got better as the game went along. Final shots, 33-28 for the Canes. Power plays, the Islanders 1 for 4, Carolina 0 for 1. The hits, 30-19 for the Islanders. Rittich, 27 saves on 33 shots. Rough night for him. And Bussy saved 26 out of 28. Turns out he's a pretty decent backup goaltender. All right, next up, the Vancouver Canucks and the St. Louis Blues. So in this game, it was Lankinen versus Binnington. And in the first minute of the first period, Brock Besser gets injured. It does not look good. He did not return to the game. We already have half of Abbotsford's roster up in Vancouver, so Abbotsford's getting drilled when they play games because everybody's in Vancouver. So they should just say that in Abbotsford to start a game. Remember, this team is your ECHL team against an AHL team. All right, So early on at 3:23, St. Louis scores. Holloway goes 5-hole from the slot, Sundqvist and Suter with the assists. Not a great goal for Lankin in there, and probably made some Canuck fans kind of nervous. Just lost Besser, now St. Louis scores early. Here we go. But at 13:08 on a power play, it's Kiefer Sherwood. And Sherwood is like superhuman, so I don't think he's going to get hurt. The assist to Evander Kane here, he buries it in close to on Binnington on a turnover. Or on a Binnington turnover. That's better. Binnington came out to play it and turned it over, and it's in his net. So 10 the goal. It is 1-1 after one. Second period, 58 seconds in. So St. Louis scores early again, and it's on the power play. It is Snuggerud, Fowler, and Binnington with the assist. So Binnington getting a helper here. Snuggerud with the goal, and St. Louis has their lead back at 2-1. Vancouver would tie it. At 10:42, it's Sherwood, because of course it is. He scores from O'Connor and Marcus Pettersson. So ever since I mentioned the only Pettersson that scores is Elias Pettersson, the others have picked it up. That's Marcus's second assist now. But that makes it 2-2, and that'll be your score after two. Third period, at 7:04, Kiefer Sherwood goes bar down from a sharp angle. It's a hat trick. I think the announcer said there was one hat hit the ice. The assist to Ratu and O'Connor. So Sherwood with a hat trick. He is the Canucks offense. Please wrap him in bubble wrap. Please, 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 please. Please be safe, Kiefer Sherwood. Anyways, it's 3-2, and then St. Louis would answer. At 10:48, it is Suter bearing a rebound and close. Fowler and Sundqvist with the assists. Kane would answer. Evander Kane gets his first goal as a Canuck, but it is goalie interference, so that wipes that goal out. With 22.6 seconds left, the Blues call a timeout. Whatever they discuss doesn't matter. We end up going to overtime. In the overtime, the Canucks controlled early. They didn't get a shot. The Blues had a couple opportunities, but we end up going to the shootout. And in the shootout, Jake DeBrusk with the winner. So the Vancouver Canucks put in a really gutsy effort. That's the word I've heard a lot since this win. It was a gutsy effort. 4-3 shootout victory for the Canucks as they lose another top six forward to injury. Sherwood, Suter, and DeBrusk are your three stars in this one. So Canuck, former Canuck, and Canuck. Shots on net favored St. Louis the whole way. 10-9 in the first, 11-4 in the second, 16-5 in the third, and they had both shots in the overtime. Final shots are 39-18 in favor of St. Louis. Kind of surprised Lankinen didn't get a start, to be honest. Power plays 1 for 3 for Vancouver, 2 for 3 for St. Louis, so that penalty kill's got to get better for Vancouver. The hits 21-17 Vancouver. Lankinen 36 saves on 39 shots. Binnington 15 saves on 18 shots. All right, let's go to board number 2. All right, so board number 2 it is, and we're going to talk about Pittsburgh and Minnesota first. So it's Jari versus Gustafsson, and 10:16 in, Minnesota opens the scoring, and they need this game. Kaprizov tips one in on a net feed off the rush. Johansson and Rossi with the assists. The Penguins then score, but it's ruled to be goalie interference. That goal comes off the board. It's 1-0 Minnesota after the first. They have a lead after the first. What do they do with it? Well, in the second period early on, they blow it. 2:18, it's a one-timer during a press by Shea. Novak and Letang with the assists, so that makes it 1-1. It was a quiet period the rest of the way as Gustafsson made some nice saves to keep this thing tied. Pittsburgh actually, I thought, had a really strong second period after Minnesota had that strong first period. And the dam holds for Minnesota until we get to the third. 6:29 into the third, it bursts. Rust with a tip in close off of a face-off win by Pittsburgh. The assist to Shea and Letang. So Shea with a goal and an assist tonight. And then on the power play, a minute and a second later, so it's 7 minutes and 30 seconds, it's Kindle. They burned the first year of his entry-level contract. He's like, cool, I'm sticking around. He gets himself a goal. Rust and Malkin with the assist. So Brian Rust's producing well, and Malkin's got himself another helper tonight. That makes the score 3-1, and it really quieted down that Minnesota crowd. Eventually, because they're down by 2, Minnesota's got to pull the goaltender, and Mantha hits the empty net at 17-18 to make your final score 4-1. The Pittsburgh Penguins, we will talk about it when we get to the standings board. They are having a ridiculously good start to the season, and we're almost to the point where we can't really call it a start anymore. It is almost November. Your 3 stars are Letang, Shea, and Jari. Shots on net, 13-6 Minnesota in the first, 12-6 Pittsburgh in the second, 16-8 Pittsburgh in the third. Like I said, Minnesota needed this game, and they got outshot 28-14 in the second and third periods. Just unacceptable. Shots on net, 34-27 Pittsburgh. Power plays, Pittsburgh scored on the only one they had. Minnesota 0 for 4. So now Minnesota's not scoring on the power play anymore. It's been dropping off precipitously since that ridiculous start. The hits, 23 apiece. Jari, 26 saves on 27 shots. Gustafsson did everything he could, 30 saves on 33 shots. All right, next up, Chicago and Winnipeg. It's Knight versus Hellebuck in this one, and at 1:42 on their first shot, Nemesnikov with a chip shot on a rush scores for Winnipeg. The assist to Nyquist and Niederreiter, so triple N right there. The Hawks would answer, though, at 8:57. This is a bit of a lucky bounce. Hellebuck comes out behind his net to play it. It goes off of the boards, and it bounces out in front of the net, and Teravainen puts it in. Because Hellebuck's behind the net waiting to play the rim around the boards. Nope. Teravainen gets this goal from Connor Murphy. So we have ourselves a 1-1 tie. Until late in the period at 16:56, it's a cross-ice pass and in via a 2-on-1 rush. Velarde scores from Scheifele and Kyle Connor. So it's 2-1 Winnipeg after one. Second period, 1:54 in. Winnipeg scores again. Scheifele puts one through Knight on the rush. Connor with the assist. That's one Spencer Knight would want back. I know Scheifele's a great goal scorer, but that's definitely one where you want the save there. Then at 11:19 on a tic-tac-toe play, Velarde buries one from the slot. So Velarde with a couple of goals. The assist to DeMello and Morrissey. So Josh Morrissey continues his hot streak. That makes it 4-1. That would be your score after 2 periods of play. In the third, Josh Morrissey gets his first goal of the season. It's at 10 minutes and 12 seconds. Taves and DeMello with the assists. But Chicago would answer, and Chicago's got some fight back here. At 13:02, it's a rebound. Last I looked, it still shows it as an unassisted goal. There will be assists, I think, added to this Vlasic goal if they haven't been added already. But that makes it 5-2. And then at 15:03, like 2 minutes and 1 second later, Burakovsky roofs one. And he puts it between his legs to roof it. I don't know how I have no idea how he does that. Burakovsky with a beautiful goal. Bedard and Levshinov with the assist. So Bedard gets on the board, and suddenly we have a 5-3 score. That is until 17:19, where Connor goes beast mode, and he goes short side top shelf. Scheifele and Velarde with the assists, and at 17:19, he makes it 6-3, and that ends any dreams the Chicago Blackhawks have of a comeback here. Big win for Winnipeg. Your 3 stars are Connor, Velarde, and Scheifele. Shots on net, or CVS. Shots on net, 7 apiece in the first, 11-7 Winnipeg in the second, 14-10 Winnipeg in the third. Final shots, 32-24 for the Jets. Power play, Chicago 0 for 3, Winnipeg 1 for 3. The hits, 18-16 Winnipeg. Knight saved 26 out of 32. Hellebuck saved 21 out of 24. It's a shame that first one goes in, because otherwise you would have had a save percentage above 900, but it happens. All right, next up, the Rangers and the Oilers. So Shesterkin versus Skinner, and at 5:44, it's a turnover by Evan Bouchard. And when Evan Bouchard turns the puck over, it's always spectacular. I've begun saying this. I said it during the playoffs this year, and it feels like he can make 13 good plays, but when he has that one turnover, it ends up in the back of their net. Brodzinski scores on a breakaway off of a turnover at the blue line by Bouchard, and that makes it 1-0 for the Rangers. The Oilers would answer. At 6:51, it is Nurse. So not long after, 17 seconds later, it's a one-timer from the right circle. Wallman and Roslovic with the assist. So Wallman staying at a point per game, and that makes it a 1-1 tie after one. Second period. On the power play at 8:48, Matt Savoy gets his first as an Oiler. Goes in off his leg, but they all count. It's a power play marker. Henrique and Draisaitl with the assists. It's a 2-1 lead. And then later in the period, the Oilers expand their lead. At 10:21, Nurse. It's a sharp angle shot that fools Shesterkin. Nurse with the goal from Howard and Wallman. So for Isaac Howard, that is his first career National Hockey League assist. He now has 3 points on the season, and it makes it 3-1, and that's the score after 2 periods of play. So Rangers struggling as a team, but generally on the road they've been good, and they showed again in the third period they can be good on the road. At 8:18, Schneider wires a rebound on the rush to make it a 3-2 score. Cooley and Vakanainen with the assists. And then on a turnover rush at 12:04, Radish buries one, the assist to Connor Sherry. Turnovers just absolutely sunk the Oilers at that point in the game. and just various points. It's like I said, it's at the absolute worst time, and it ends up in the back of your net. With 40.9 seconds left, the Oilers get a power play. So we go to overtime, tied at 3, but the Oilers have the power play to start the period. And to start overtime, they controlled early, they set up the power play, but the Rangers do finish the kill. Then at 2:49, JT Miller goes 5-hole on a net drive to win it for the Rangers. The assist to Schneider and Lafreniere. So the Rangers win this one 4-3 in overtime over the Oilers. Disappointing result, of course, for Edmonton. Encouraging for a Rangers team that needed the 2 points. Your 3 stars are Henrique, Nurse, and Miller. Shots on net, 15-10 Rangers in the first, 14-8 Edmonton in the second, 10-9 Rangers in the third, 3-1 for the Oilers in the overtime, but the Rangers shot's the one that matters. Final shots, 36-34 in favor of the Oilers. Power plays, the Rangers 0 for 2, the Oilers 1 for 3. The hits, 18-17 for the Rangers. Shesterkin, 33 saves on 36 shots. Skinner, 30 saves on 34 shots. All right, moving along. The New Jersey Devils and the San Jose Sharks. I'm not going to put the shock llama up for that. No. All right, Allen versus Nedeljkovic and San Jose wearing their spiffy throwbacks. It's weird because I have what they're throwing back to, but without that plunging neckline, it just looks so much better. It looks so much better. Anyways, at 42 seconds, those spiffy jerseys get themselves a goal. Eklund goes 5-hole on a turnover breakaway, and Kurashev with the assist. So San Jose showing that this was going to be an interesting night. And then at 12 minutes and 12 seconds, it's Kurashev with a one-timer from the left circle. Wenberg with the assist. San Jose has a 2-0 lead over the New Jersey Devils, who just, coming into today, were number 1 overall. Then at 15:47, Wenberg tips one short side to make it 3-0 for San Jose. The assist to Ferraro and Liljegren. So we have a 3-0 lead, but New Jersey would get on the board. At 19 minutes, Mercer tips one from the inner slot. Jack Hughes and Hamilton with the assists. It's 3-1 San Jose after 1. One thing with San Jose, though, is you never really trust a lead with the Sharks. I do wonder if that's going to change as the season goes along. Second period. The Sharks would eventually expand their lead at 16 minutes and 50 seconds. After what had been a pretty good period of hockey by New Jersey, it's Will Smith scoring from Macklin Celebrini. Celebrini's point streak, I think, has hit 6 games. Then, a little less than 2 minutes later at 18:30, Toffoli. It's a puck pass to screen, and Toffoli deflects it in. The assist to Orlov and Liljegren. So, all of a sudden, we have a 5-1 lead in favor of the San Jose Sharks. It's happening. Third period. On the power play, well, New Jersey would get into it a little bit. At 4:19, it's a point shot tipped down low by Mercer, Hamilton, and Bratt with the assists. Now, here's the weird part. San Jose didn't get a shot in the third period. I thought they played pretty well. It's weird. It's weird to say that a team that didn't have any shots played all right. And I thought San Jose did pretty well for the complete game kind of thing. So a 5-2 win for the San Jose Sharks, an impressive, over a New Jersey team that, no, they're not number 1 in the power rankings right now. I do update the power rankings every day. New Jersey is not number 1, coming off the Colorado loss now, this one. 3 stars are Wenberg, Kurashev, and Nedeljkovic. Shots on net, 15-9 San Jose in the first, 13 apiece in the second, and New Jersey had all 9 shots in the third period. They end up outshooting San Jose 31-28. Power plays 2 for 3 for New Jersey, meaning 5-on-5, nothing. 0 for 2 for San Jose on the power play. The hits 30-16 New Jersey. Jake Allen had a rough night, 23 saves on 28 shots. Nedeljkovic did not have a rough night, 29 saves on 31 shots. So everybody was burying Nedeljkovic after that game against Vegas, but he's played all right since then. All right, next up, last game of the night, the Detroit Red Wings and the LA Kings. So Talbot versus Kemper. In the first period, there were 16 total shots. Both goaltenders looked good. Kempe hit a post late, but we have no score after the first period. Second period, 30 minutes into this game, there's 30 combined shots. There are no goals. 16 shots for LA, 14 for Detroit. Then some stuff starts to happen. So power play for Detroit, and LA scores on it. Shorthanded, it's Laferriere, and it's just 11 seconds into the power play as well. He scores from Byfield and Ceci at 12:39. However, Detroit would answer on that same power play. At 13:22, DeBrincat puts in a one-timer from the left circle. Raymond and Sider with the assists. We have a 1-1 tie. Until at 15:46, Kasper, another power play goal. He scores. It's a point shot that's batted out of the air into the net. Sandine, Pelika, and Kopp with the assist. It was reviewed to see if it was batted out of the air with a high stick. If you watch the LA feed, I know Jim Fox tried to say it from this angle. It looks like it's too high, but the angle they were showing there can be wrong. It's not exactly straight on with the post. So if you're not straight on with that post, it can be wrong. So at any rate, that goal counted. It's 2-1 in favor of Detroit. You want that absolute clear vision of here's the post and here's the puck and which one's above which. And they didn't really have one that I saw that was clear there. Third period, Detroit would add to their lead eventually. And I was like, okay, so I don't have to worry about overtime. At 14:45 on a tic-tac-toe play, Casper puts one into the empty net from in close. Appleton and DeBrincat with the assists. I just mean they pass it over. The net's wide open. He puts it in. Makes it 3-1. Cool. Everybody can get up, go home. Everything's fine. Well, the goalie pull happens with 2 minutes and 50 seconds left and the Kings score. And that's where I went, okay. At 17:47, it's Perry bearing a rebound. So Corey Perry still at a point per game. The assist to Kempe and Fiala. They pull the goalie again and they score again, 6-on-5. So, yeah. 18:27, it's Byfield from Kopitar and Fiala. Wires it from the slot. I've always wondered, and I wonder this in football games too, okay, so you've got these goals. Where was this desperation earlier in the game? There's nothing more frustrating than watching a football game and a team has just controlled the whole game. They're ahead by 20. And then with 2 minutes left, it's just ching, 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 and down the field and they score. And I'm thinking, where was that before? Now, I know teams do the prevent defense, but there are times too that a team all of a sudden seems to be in sync and it's too late. And it feels like with the Kings, if they'd been playing this way the whole game, it wouldn't have needed overtime. In the overtime, the Wings control early. The Kings draw a power play. Fiala scores, but I immediately knew this was going to come back on goalie interference. It's an overtime goal, so no challenges involved. You do not have to challenge on an overtime goal. They review every overtime goal, and they decided, nope, Fiala's goal was no good. So the LA Kings do not get the 2 points there. We end up going to the shootout. In the shootout, it is Lucas Raymond with the winner. So Detroit, despite their best efforts, they come out of this with 2 points. They win 4-3 in a shootout. Your 3 stars are Casper, DeBrincat, and Perry. Shots on net favored LA, 10-6 in the first, 14-13 in the second, 8 apiece in the third, and they had all 6 shots in the overtime, did the LA Kings. Final shots, 38-27 for LA. Power plays, Detroit 2 for 3, LA 0 for 4. That's something that stands out for the Kings in this. Your hits, 17-11 for the LA Kings. Talbot, 35 saves on 38 shots. Played very well against his former team. Kemper, 24 saves on 27 shots at the other end. All right, let's go ahead and talk about how this affected the standings. All right, so the Central, Winnipeg is now first. 8-3, 16 points. They have the tiebreaker on Utah, same record. And Colorado, also with 16 points. We have a 3-way tie atop the division. Vegas stays first at 15 points in 10 games with the 1 point via the shootout loss. The Kings now have 14 points in 11 games. They're second in the division, but they've only got 5 wins in 11 games. So, yeah, interesting. Seattle drops, but they have a game in hand on LA, and they're 1 point back. The number 1 wild card is now Dallas, 6-3-2, 14 points in 11 games, and the Oilers, the number 2 wild card, 5-4-3, 13 points in 12 games. Not that they're secure there or anything, because look at this. Chicago's 5-4-2. They lost in regulation tonight. They drop out, but they're only a point behind Edmonton with a game in hand. Vancouver 6-6. Somehow, some way, they're getting victories, and they're keeping themselves at 500. Anaheim, who've been off for 10 days? It feels like they've been off for 10 days. 9 games, 5 goals, 3 assists, and 1 point. 5-3-1 record, 11 points. It's been a long day. Nashville 4-6-2, 10 points in 12 games. For Minnesota, 3-6-3 record, 9 points in 12 games. St. Louis with the loss tonight, 3-6-2, 8 points in 11 games. That really hurt, that loss against Vancouver. San Jose is also 3-6-2. They have 8 points in 11 games. They have caught St. Louis. Calgary 2-8-2, 6 points in 12 games. I think we're really into a season where there's no truly awful teams, but Calgary's just not getting any bounces. Then out east, Detroit's now number 1 in the division. Yep. 8-3, 16 points in 11 games. There you go. They blew the 2-goal lead against LA, but they got the points in the shootout when they needed it. And because they have the tiebreaker of regulation wins on Montreal, Montreal second, also 8-3. So we have Detroit, Montreal, Winnipeg, Utah, atop their divisions, all of them 8-3. It's a fun time. Ottawa, second in the division now. They've played 12 games, 6-5-1 record, 13 points. So Ottawa's the number 3 team. We'd have Montreal and Ottawa in the first round if the playoffs started today. I would absolutely love that series if that was to happen. Pittsburgh is now number 1 in the National Hockey League standings. I'm not sure if this means the world's coming to an end or not, but maybe. 8-2-2 record, 18 points in 12 games. Nobody saw that coming. Nobody was going to... If anybody had said on the channel, I think Pittsburgh should be number 1 by the end of October, we would have been like, man, he's got the good stuff. New Jersey, 8-3, so another 8-3 team, 16 points in 11 games for them. Embarrassing loss tonight against San Jose. They're going to have to pick themselves up here. Carolina, 7-3, so 14 points in 10 games. Philadelphia, check it out. Number 1 wildcard in the East, 6-3-1, 13 points in 10 games. Drops Washington down to the number 2 wildcard. They are 6-4, 12 points in 10 games. The Philadelphia Flyers might very well be for real. It's early, but maybe. Columbus, 6-4, 12 points in 10 games, so they're tied with Washington. Tampa now 5-4-2, so they continue to win. That's bad news for teams in the Atlantic. The Rangers are 5-5-2, so the road trip has definitely helped the Rangers. Boston is now 6-7, so they're still in the hunt, although they've played more games than teams they're chasing. Florida, of course, 5-5-1. Buffalo 4-4-3. So Buffalo is not getting the wins when they need them. Toronto 5-5-1. They are down underneath Buffalo. I think Buffalo has more regulation wins because this is straight from the NHL site. Honestly, straight NHL standings. And the Islanders are last in the East, 4-5-1, 9 points in 10 games. So if you want to make the statement that the East is better than the West, right now, looking at the standings, by a mile. Yeah, there are some good teams in the East that are below the playoff line. Out West, there are a couple of decent teams below the playoff line, but there's definitely a big imbalance here early in the season. I think that'll balance out a little bit as the season goes along, but the East is superior at this point. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Hit like and subscribe in the event you may not have done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support as always. It's greatly appreciated. I will talk to you again soon.